I let my best friend seduce my boyfriend. That's what everyone thinks they understand. They don't. I handed her the script, poured the wine, and shoved them into bed together. What I actually did that night, that's what makes me the villain. Now Jake and Sarah post couple photos while I'm the exiled ex, the cautionary tale, the crazy girl who got what she deserved. My entire friend group airbrushed me from existence. My mother asks what I did to drive him away. The real panic. They'll never know how much worse it was. But I'm telling you everything, the real cheating during girls' night, the choice I made after my third tequila shot that turned our lives into collateral damage. By the end, you'll wonder why I'm not in jail. I know I do. 3 months ago, I was the girl who had it together. At least on paper. Jake and I had just moved into a loft downtown, our names both on the lease. Sarah had been my person since freshman year, the one who held my hair back and my secrets closer. But underneath the Instagrammable brunch shots, I developed this hollow feeling, like I was performing the role of happy girlfriend instead of actually being one. Jake had been pulling 12-hour days at the architecture firm, coming home smelling like coffee and distance. I'd scan his phone when he showered, not for evidence but for connection, some sign he was still present. Sarah noticed first. He's got that checked-out vibe, she said over mimosas. My dad had it right before he left my mom. That comment planted itself in my skull, so when she suggested our monthly girls' night, I was already primed for disaster. We met at her apartment, just us, 3 bottles of cheap rose and our collective relationship baggage. I told them about Jake's late nights, his locked phone, the way he stopped asking about my day. I didn't mention the real problem, that I'd already found a temporary fix for my loneliness, a name I hadn't said out loud yet. Around midnight, Sarah floated the idea. What if I tested him, just a little harmless flirting to see if he's loyal? The other girls laughed it off, but I felt something click into place. Do it, I said, I dare you. That's when I made the first mistake that would cost me everything. Sarah's eyes lit up in a way I should have recognized. Really? She asked. You wouldn't care. I should have seen the hunger in her expression, the way she'd always found reasons to text Jake about surprises for my birthday or quick questions about his work. But I was too busy nursing my own secret to notice the one sitting across from me. I trust him completely, I lied, the words tasting like ash. The truth was, I didn't trust myself anymore. 2 weeks after girls' night, Sarah started executing our plan with military precision. She'd accidentally run into Jake at his favorite coffee shop, wearing workout gear that showed everything. She sent him memes she claimed were so you too, CCing me but crafting them for his specific humor. I watched it all unfold through the screenshots she proudly texted our group chat. See, she'd write, just being friendly. Jake seemed uncomfortable at first, replying with polite distance, but Sarah was relentless. She brought him lunch at his office since Maya's so busy. She commented on every one of his LinkedIn posts. My friends thought it was hilarious, this performance of loyalty testing. Girl, you're so brave, they said. I could never. What they couldn't see was that I was counting on it failing. Every time Sarah reported back, I'd feel this sick relief. If Jake cheated, I could be the victim. I could finally breathe without the weight of my own betrayal crushing me. So when Jake finally texted Sarah back without me in the thread, just a casual thanks for the coffee, I didn't feel anger. I felt salvation. He asked me that night, genuinely worried, is Sarah okay? She's been texting a lot. I waved it off. She's just being friendly, you know how she gets. The lie came so easily I barely registered I'd spoken. Jake studied my face, his brow furrowing in that way that used to make me feel seen. Now it just made me feel exposed. What he didn't know was that while Sarah was chasing him, I'd been sleeping with my ex, David, for 6 months. The girls' night that started this mess, I'd left early to meet David at a hotel. Sarah covered for me, telling Jake I'd passed out at her place. She didn't ask questions then. She was too busy planning her own conquest. The truth bomb that reframes everything. Sarah had seen David's text on my phone weeks before our plan. She knew I was cheating. That's why she suggested the test, not to help me but to give me enough rope to hang myself with. When I enthusiastically agreed, I was essentially signing my own eviction notice from our shared life. I found out she knew when she cornered me at the gym, her voice sweet as poison. Must be nice having a safety net while you test yours, she said. I froze, my towel slipping from suddenly numb fingers. I don't know what, she cut me off. Save it. I saw his name on your screen. You think you're the only one who can snoop, she smiled. Difference is I have photos. The confrontation came 3 days later. Jake sat me down, his face a mask I couldn't read. Sarah told me about the test, he said quietly. The one you orchestrated. My throat closed. She said you gave her permission, encouraged it even. I tried to explain, but the words tangled. I needed to know if he held up a hand. Stop, did you want her to succeed? I couldn't answer. The silence was deafening. That's when the social avalanche began. Sarah had documented everything, my texts encouraging her, my laugh-crying voice messages about Jake's inevitable failure, the detailed strategy I drafted on a cocktail napkin she'd photographed. She shared it with our friend group selectively, positioning herself as the confused best friend who'd been manipulated into betraying someone she loved. I became the puppet master, the sociopath, the girl who'd engineered her own heartbreak. I lost them all in a week. First the group chat went silent, then the invitations stopped. My coworker Emma, who'd introduced me to Jake, cornered me by the copier. "I just don't understand why you do that to someone you loved," she said, her voice carrying the weight of everyone's judgment. "It's like you wanted to be miserable." She wasn't wrong, but she didn't know the half of it. My sister Lily was the last to turn. She'd let me crash on her couch after Jake moved out, listening to my sobbing for nights on end. But when Sarah's side of the story reached her, she packed my things into garbage bags. "You need to leave," she said, her voice cracking. "My daughter asks why you're so angry all the time. I can't have that around her." She wouldn't even let me say goodbye to my niece. The worst part was I couldn't defend myself without revealing the bigger truth. Every time I tried to explain I'd been cheating first, it sounded like pathetic deflection. So I leaned into the villainy, posting bitter subtweets about fake friends and boys who need temptation to feel alive. I became the caricature they'd painted, thinking it would hurt less than admitting I was just a coward with a self-destruct button. The night everything finally shattered, I showed up at Jake's new apartment, drunk on cheap vodka and desperation. Sarah answered the door in his t-shirt. "You need to leave," she said, but I pushed past her, screaming about betrayal and loyalty. Jake emerged from the bedroom, his face unreadable. "Maya, stop." I turned on him, tears streaming. "Why her? Why couldn't you just be faithful?" His response was quiet, devastating. "Why did you want me to fail?" That question hung in the air, the one I'd been avoiding since the first tequila shot. Because if he failed, I could stop feeling like the monster. If he cheated first, my 6 months with David became reactive, not preemptive. I was outsourcing my guilt, trying to make him the villain so I could be the victim. But Jake had always been better than that. Better than me anyway. Sarah handed me a manila envelope. "You should see this," she said. Inside were photos of David and me, timestamped from the past 6 months. Hotel lobbies, restaurant booths, even one of us kissing outside Jake's own building. She'd hired someone. "I knew before I suggested the test," she admitted. "I just needed you to incriminate yourself enough that he'd finally see who you really are." The final hidden element, the one that makes everything else look almost innocent. I was pregnant with David's child when I set up the test. I'd found out 3 days before girls' night, panicked, scheduled an abortion for the following week. I couldn't tell Jake, couldn't look him in the eye while carrying that secret. So I burned our relationship down instead, thinking it would be easier than confession. I was wrong. The abortion was uncomplicated. The aftermath wasn't. Jake read the appointment confirmation I'd left in the envelope, his face crumpled in a way I hadn't seen even when I confessed to the setup. "You were going to let me think it was mine," he whispered, not a question, a realization. Sarah's hand found his, and I saw my replacement happen in real time. They didn't need to say it. I'd built the bridge for them. Current fallout spans every corner of my existence. I lost my marketing job after HR received an anonymous email about my harassment of a coworker's new partner, Sarah's handiwork, no doubt. My mother found the blog post someone made dissecting my toxic behavior patterns and now sends me Bible verses about truthfulness. David blocked me everywhere after I told him about the pregnancy. "You said you were on the pill," was his only response. I was. It failed, but those details don't matter anymore. My Instagram is a ghost town of blocked accounts and deleted comments. Someone made a TikTok about me, using my old photos with text overlays explaining my master manipulation. It has 2.3 million views. I'm a case study in self-destruction, a verb for when someone sabotages themselves so thoroughly they take out everyone around them. "She totally mired her own life," reads one comment with 40,000 likes. The accuracy haunts me. The unexpected consequence came last week. Sarah's ex-boyfriend, the one she'd complained about during girls' night, messaged me. "I heard what you did," he wrote. "Want to get coffee?" For a second I considered it. The old me would have seen it as revenge, a way to hurt her back. Instead, I blocked him. That felt like the first honest thing I'd done in a year. What I've learned, if you can call it that, is that cowardice looks a lot like malice from the outside. I didn't set out to hurt Jake or Sarah. I set out to avoid being uncomfortable. And when you prioritize your comfort over other people's reality, you don't get to control the narrative anymore. I wanted to be the victim. Instead, I became the lesson. I'm telling this now because this morning Jake posted the engagement ring photo. Sarah's hand manicured perfect, a diamond I helped make possible through my own erosion. The caption, "Sometimes the wrong road leads you to the right person." My mother texted me the screenshot with a simple, "I realized I'm the only one still living in the rubble. Everyone else has moved on." So here's the truth. I promised. I cheated first, lied second, and manipulated third. I burned down my life because I was too scared to turn on a light. If you're waiting for me to say I deserve this, I won't. If you're waiting for me to ask forgiveness, I can't. But I can finally admit that the villain in this story isn't the woman who took my boyfriend. It's the woman